asking questions. To the members of Exploring the Continent of Africa, we are doing a series to introduce you guys to people whom I met that are extraordinary in what they do. And they are the kind of people that I want you all really to get to know. And one of the gentlemen that's joined the meeting today, I met him, and I can't think back on when we met, but apparently we were able to glue the relationship in such ways that's been extraordinarily wonderful. But he is one of the extraordinary unsung heroes within the Exploring the Continent of African group. Now, some of you guys may have seen posts that he plays out. He has a show, one-on-one. He does an extraordinary interview. His depth of knowledge is unbelievable. Um, I have to say this, and I'm not saying this in front of him, I would say this behind his back. I think he's a genius that has not been fully discovered. I know that some of the national news networks should have him as as one of their guest personnel from time to time, but that has not materialized. But the person I'm referring to, you see, is Youri, and I call him Youri. I have really grown close to everything that he do. I watch all of his videos on YouTube, and I've also encouraged members to subscribe to his YouTube channel to support him. If you want topics that are concurrent with political issues, situations that is affecting the lives of millions of people, Youri is the person you should listen to, and the interviews that he conducted are just out of the world. But anyways, everybody meet Youri. Youri, welcome to Exploring the Continent of Africa Unsung Heroes series. Okay.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you, Tyrone. It's very good to be back with you and to be doing this Facebook Zoom live stream with you. And thank you very much for that very generous and very moving introduction.
Well, you
No,
inspire me every time.
it's a great thing, us black men, whether we're biracial or fully dark, that people can see what when we're actually blushing. So thank you
Yeah,
for that introduction.
yeah, that's true. By the way, along that line, um, one guy from Nigeria looked at me and said, "You're a white man," and boy, uh, I couldn't get him off of that thought process because he had decided, but based on my skin color, that I was white, and you know, uh, I can understand from his position, but I couldn't allow him to think that that is the truth. But needless to say, I want to take your
Color, well,
time.
color, well, colorism is actually one of the most awful recurring yeah, I wouldn't say cancer. I don't know how would you say it, but it's like a recurring pimple I find in the black community, colorism and so forth. And I so wish that our people you know didn't engage in the kind of petty, grotesque racism that white supremacy has inflicted on us. It's bad enough we have sectarianism between different African tribes, between different religions, but yeah, when you have colorism, it gets under my skin. And as someone who has also kind of had sort of similar experiences and run-ins with that, all I can say is uh, kudos to you for keeping your cool in the face of that. But oh my gosh, yeah, that's terrible though.
It was difficult, but so everyone, I hope that you're getting comfortable as you hear the interview that will take place today. I have developed 5 questions that each of the unsung heroes will be asked to get their responses to. I think these questions are really points into the real nature of the person that you're going to get to know over the next couple of minutes as we do the interview. So, question number 1, let me roll the drum. As a young person, who had the greatest influence on your life?
That's a very, very good question. And you know, I well, 3 people. And I know this is I know this is going to sound corny because you probably hear this all the time when you interview people for jobs and stuff like that, or when kids are asked to write some kind of a university paper so that they can get into Harvard and whatnot. And but I actually have to say, and I probably don't give them enough credit, but I think definitely my parents, my two parents, Lenny and Natisha Smouter. My mom, I think, in terms of compassion and having patience with people, even if you do violently disagree with people, but trying to look at the person's humanity, and sometimes knowing when, okay, we'll agree to disagree, but let's continue having a good dinner. So I think my mom definitely has taught me, how to, sometimes, you don't always have to go into an event and be ready for and be ready for a fight. So I think she had a very good influence on me in sort of knowing how to pick battles and so forth. And my father, the reason he's had a very very good influence on me, and not just because of the diverse musics I listen to, the fact that I'm very much a film buff and lover of history, and and then at times can be quite outspoken. But my father, we were traveling to the south of France one summer, and so it was me, my older sister, and the parents. My older brother wasn't there, but my older sister was there, and we went to this one restaurant that we were frequenting all the time. We were in Cannes, in the south of France, and there was a gentleman by himself, eating by himself, and all of that. And I kind of, made like a signal to my father and said, "This guy looks very, very lonely. He's surrounded by, people who are in groups of families, groups of friends, and so forth. Uh, Talk to the guy, basically."
Wow.
And after my father was done with his with his dinner, getting the bill, getting the bottles of wine in, he then approached the gentleman that was sitting right next to him and had a good conversation with him, which lasted for a good 2 hours before it was time for us to go back to our hotel. And that has stuck. And the fact that my father did something like that, he is a very very nice person and very good to his colleagues and so forth. But the fact that my father did something like that to a complete stranger, that has always stuck by me, and I tried to in my own life to just to always have that to always have that level of decency. So definitely definitely the parents. And then I think when it comes to what I do, which is independent journalism and interviews, I think the biggest influence on that would probably be John Pilger, was the who unfortunately isn't alive anymore. He passed away in late December, but he was the one that influenced me probably more than anyone else to want to become uh, a journalist. And so if you see me talking about the plight of indigenous people, if you see me not only criticizing American foreign policy and the American system, but the British system and the other unjust systems of the world, John Pilger was definitely the one that influenced me to do that. And almost every single website I consume, journalists I follow, books I've gotten, have all come from John Pilger. And I've and so and got even the chance to go to Perth in Western Australia to be with my Aboriginal friends there, and they were featured. Robert and Selena Eggington. They were featured in my hero John Pilger's last documentary he did about the plight of Indigenous people in Australia. So the guy has definitely had a huge as you can
Impact on
imagine.
your life. Yes.
Exactly. other people could probably quote, Fidel Castro, Lenin, Jesus, off the top of their heads, but for me, it would be John Pilger, George Carlin, and and somebody like Bill Hicks and Frank Zappa.
Yeah, I've seen some of your videos, production that Youri Smouter. You mentioned him, okay, and some of his thoughts. Okay, so now we got into what started you to be who you are. So let's look at some of the things that can happen in anybody's life. What has been the most difficult task you have faced in your life that you had to overcome?
That is a very good question, and I could even do several interviews with you. You could even ghost write a book about that because there's been so many of those big obstacles that one has to overcome. But I think if I had to choose one, though, it would actually have to be this, and apologies to the audience, but there's going to have to be a bit of a background story to this. So, university did not work out for me for for lots of reasons. But what happened was I went to a university, the University of Maastricht, because my father is from the Netherlands and my mom is from Congo. So even though I have lived in the U.S. for many years, I do not have American citizenship and only have Dutch citizenship. So when it comes to universities, in terms of what's the most affordable that my parents could have enrolled me, the Netherlands, which has a lot of English speaking programs, was a place that my parents could put me into. But the university I went to, it didn't work. I didn't like what I was studying. Didn't like the style of teaching, and just didn't really fit in with the students there. So after a very tough year of that, I moved back to Belgium, where I'm based with my parents. But what was supposed to be, me going for 3 years at this English speaking college in Brussels, studying international relations, doing something in journalism, doing some history, and then be on the road to other, studies and hopefully getting a job as a journalist, also didn't work out because couldn't afford the full program. Even the part-time program, was financially was quite difficult, and I couldn't get any loans from the Dutch government. Couldn't get any student loans from the Dutch government, which I won't get into why that wasn't the case. But then I thought, okay, I can't continue to live life like this, and I wasn't even living in Brussels, which is also quite annoying. So I found
You froze momentarily. Yuri?
the Netherlands where I could. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, you froze momentarily, but now you're back live.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So okay, so then after 2 years of that unpleasantness, I found another university back in Holland, an English speaking one, and I was hoping to transfer the 2 years I was at Vesalius College to go study in this university, and hopefully, within 2 years of that, be done with a bachelor's, be doing mostly history studies and journalism studies, and then go on to do better things. But that university, even though they had accepted me, said I could not enroll at their university because I did not have the right high school diploma.
Oh, wow. That was amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was a huge blow to me because I really liked the place. I really liked the programs I was going to do. Really liked the student community there. So that was very, 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 very devastating to me. And I spent probably the first 2 months when I had to move back with my parents after that fiasco, trying to find other universities in Holland that simply had a history program or a journalism program. but lo and behold, they didn't have any of that, in English.
Understand.
So that led me to many years. Hard to believe, but I think like over 10 or 7 years of just being very much lost, not having any job prospects, twice dropping out of university, and I was just very much lost, very depressed, and and just not happy, just really not happy, really not feeling good about myself, and those were some very tough years. But then, long story short, I still managed to while I was job hunting and job hunting for journalism jobs, I would pitch myself to outlets, saying, hello, do it says them, I would love to do interviews on behalf of your outlet. Do I need a degree though in journalism in order to do it? And after many rejections and the law of no responses, one outlet actually did respond back, and that outlet was Black Agenda Reports, which at the time was run. Well, the executive editor was the late Glenn Ford, who said, "Yeah, well," he said, "No, you don't need a degree to write for us. Yeah, go out and find interviews, and then we'll see if we can be able to publish them, and then we can think about whether you can be a regular contributor and so forth." And then, well, and I managed to get two interviews which I recorded on behalf of Black Agenda Reports, and then right across from where from the country I'm living in is the United Kingdom, Britain, England, and at the moment they had a very left wing, the Labour Party, which is sort of like the Democrats. What the Democrats are in the United States, the Labour Party is in British politics, and the Labour Party had sort of they had a very left wing leader in the form of in the form of Jeremy Corbyn, who was met with vicious hostility by the press, even a lot of hostility within his own party, very similar to the clash between the Bernie Sanders faction and the Hillary Clinton faction before the.
You froze again, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now you're back. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Sorry about that.
Oh,
so,
no
so,
worries.
so what happened then was I basically pitched myself to Glenn Ford, saying, "Hey, there's a lot of very interesting stuff happening in England that I think your audience would find quite interesting. Can I cover the Labour Party conference on behalf of Black Agenda Report and do either a 3 or 4 part article on it?" And Glenn Ford was like, "Yeah, sure, you can do that." Now, long story short, from that, my articles didn't get published because, unfortunately, I realized that many years of not studying in university, not even having a job which requires you to work, I basically lost my ability to write and to articulate myself and know how to like summarize things. So unfortunately, my articles didn't get published at Black Agenda Report. But instead of being finding myself in despair about it, a lot of people were saying to me when I would show them the interviews I did on behalf of Bar, that you're actually really good at doing interviews. And I had other people who I met during the Labor Party conference say, you're actually really good at at talking to a lot of different people, asking them questions, and you're very good at doing press conference types of stuff. You should just do your own podcast and stuff like that. So that's how one. So that's basically in a nutshell. That's how 1+1. That's how 1+1 started.
Wonderful. Well, everyone, I hope you're warming up to Youri. as I have, and you can really see whom I think a very extraordinary man happens to be. So everybody goes through challenges in life, and he just explained to you the challenges that he confronted. But look at how circumstances came about where other people saw his talent and recognized it, and thereby he was able to propel himself what he's doing today. Okay, now this is another question about when you sit down and think about things. When did you decide to believe in yourself? Question I know.
That is a yeah, that is a very good question. I think it probably was year two of doing 1+1. Year two of doing 1+1 because you started the program formally. I think it was year one of the pandemic of the big pandemic due to the due to COVID-19, and I remember being very nervous about. I remember being very nervous about it. I remember being very nervous when I would talk to when I would have like the guests, the ones who, did decide to come on, and I would try to make sure, okay, be very calm. Remember to ask them, how are they doing? Start off always with, very small conversations before getting into the recording. And, but I had a very hard time sort of calling myself, a journalist or anything like that. And then I think when I interviewed Margaret Kimberly, also part of Black Agenda Report, and is now the current executive editor of Black Agenda Report. And I remember interviewing her, and it's one of those interviews I actually have a very hard time rewatching because I was way too hyper during that interview.
Yes.
So there are some interviews, I do where I'm pretty, calm and collective. There's other ones where I allow my more humorous self to sort of show off, and then there's other interviews where I'm quite serious and trying my very best to listen to the answers that's being given, due to whatever is the the topic at hand. And I think I remember the first three times I interviewed Margaret Kimberly, I was, for some reason or another, I was always quite hyper. I think just overexcited about the fact I'm talking to one of my heroines and so forth like that. So I have a very hard time watching our first four interviews that that I did with her. But that being said, and even though I was quite aware, ugh, I hope she didn't think I was too crazy or anything like that. When she actually encouraged me to get on Twitter in the hopes of getting more of an audience like that. And I think I remember she retweeted our very first interview, and in the tagline she said that I just had a very good. This is me paraphrasing though, but she definitely said the fall. But she definitely said this. She said, "I just had a very good conversation with 1+1's Youri, an up and coming journalist. Folks, watch out for him."
So that was confirmation to you that you
Exactly.
had reached the pinnacle, that now you're confident about who you are and you're doing in life what you really truly enjoy doing. That's wonderful. Okay, so
Exactly.
maybe this question coming up, number four, what have you accomplished in life that make you proud? Make you proud of yourself?
Oh, 1+1, definitely that because that's all me doing it. That was all me doing that. Because before I started 1+1, and one of the reasons why I was crippled with so much self doubt, it wasn't only because of university not working out well in this place, not working out well in that place, and then not working out well in in this place. But a lot of people, friends, if you can believe that, thought that the way to get me out of my sort of depression was to give a lot of tough love. So a lot of them would say things like, "You're not working hard enough to get out of this slump you're in. It's your fault. You're in the situation you're in." And kind of sort of a version of somebody's really struggling, and instead of somebody responding with compassion, they'll say like, oh, you're just not working hard enough, you need to pull yourself more by the bootstrap, you just got to be more or something like that. So I found it very hard to talk to people for a long period of time. I wasn't even talking to a lot of friends about problems I was having, because I was always afraid of what the response was going to be, and was even embarrassed to even be going to parties sometimes, and everybody has a job, or everybody is doing an internship, and for me it's just like, oh yeah, I mean, I have been applying for jobs and stuff like that, but yeah, I'm unemployed and still living with the parents and so forth. And what got me out of that was, of course, 1+1 was was doing that, and that was something I had done completely by myself. So when I when I got in touch with Glenn Ford, that was all my idea, pitching to him that I would be a very good interviewer, even though I had never done interviews before. Pitching to him that, hey, there's extraordinary things happening in Britain, that Black Agenda report, that your audience would be very much interested in. So that's me pitching to him that idea, and the fact that he said yes to all of that, I think, was just the bolts of positive energy I needed. And I remember when I interviewed,
You froze momentarily. Go on.
oh, am I okay again?
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine now.
Okay, perfect. And I remember interviewing my very first guest, Eve Angler, who's actually, and if you watch 1+1, you'll know that he's become quite a regular guest on the program, and in fact, I never even expected to be covering so much Canadian topics, especially because I've never lived in Canada. And so forth. So that's quite interesting, in and of itself. Sometimes the subjects choose you, you don't choose the subject. Sometimes fate chooses, who you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and where the wings of destiny are going to be. And I remember when I first interviewed Eve Angler, and I was so proud of that interview because it was my first one. The conversation was great. I think I could tell that my guest was actually quite impressed with my level of knowledge and how much I was, reading his work and so forth. And before I even launched the very first episode of 1+1, I had sent Eve the link to our interview for him to share widely, and he had gotten in touch with me, like saying, "Hey Youri, I hope all is well with you. I just wanted to let you know that I've been getting a lot of positive reception, with the interview. So hope all is well with you." So that was very nice to hear that, and I think that just gave me the strength to, okay, you're in the right track,
Keep going.
continue continue on doing this. So yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, family and members of the exploring the continent of Africa, I think you're getting to embrace what we're trying to do. We want you to meet the extraordinary people who have faced crises like we all have, challenges like we all will go through, but how they continue to find ways to believe in themselves positively and find that little niche in life that make them who they are. And you understand as the interview gets more involved why I decided to ask this young man to come to be recognized as an unsung hero. And last question for the day. And this is a question that may be kind of hard to delve into, embrace it, but there's a reality. How do you think your loved ones and your friends will remember you when you're no longer alive? Tough question, I
That's
know, but it's a reality question.
no, that's a very good question. In fact, it's funny because on one plus because on 1+1 we often do nowadays. uh, the questionnaire from inside the actors studio, and in that questionnaire, James Lipton, who very much influenced by Bernard Pivot, the last question they would ask their guests is, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates? I've done my own version of of that, but saying, or whatever is your vision of the afterlife, and even if you're an atheist, please answer the question. But if I had to, heaven, but yeah, heaven forbid, if if something happens to me, what would I like my friends and loved ones, to think of when, when they, when I pass away? I think I would love. Well, I certainly would love my comrades in the journalism world. So the folks that I interview and so forth. Some who I continue to have a rapport with. Others, a one-time concert, and that's and that's that. I would want them to remember me as somebody full of passion, who loved their work, and and saw me as their equal in in doing very good journalism, and speaking for uh, the powerless. Speaking truth to the not speaking truth to the powerful, but speaking truth to the powerless. A friend of mine did a documentary on Canadian imperialism, and it's called "Truth to the Powerless" because Noam Chomsky, who he interviews, says that it's not says that the powerful already know the truth. It's those who don't have any power, the massive amount of poor people, whatnot, that are powerless, and we need to speak the truth to them in order for them to be set free. So I would hope that my peers in the in the left world would see me as an equal, as somebody who worked hard to get the truth out there and to be a good truth teller and myth buster. And I think in terms of friends, I don't have that many friends, but in terms of the very few friends I have, I would hope that they would remember me as a good person, who cared a lot about them, and that's they remember me fondly as a good person, a funny person, and somebody who gave them, you know, happiness and joy. And then I think in terms of my family,
You got a
uh,
nephew,
uh,
right?
he was a pain in the ass, but but that's why we also loved him.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Well, well,
yeah.
well, family, there you have it. One of our unsung heroes. As I have stated many times, with exploring the continent of Africa, not only will you be able to learn things as you explore the continent of Africa with this Facebook group, but also learn things about yourself and learn things about the good people that's in this group. I want everybody to really get to know each other because that's how I think families eventually come together as what we're doing. We're just talking. And we have some extraordinary members in this group that I have recommended to Youri to interview, and I'm sure that he will. The Some of the great people that we have who are writers, who have some thoughts and ideas that they put into their writings, that I want you guys to hear him to interview them. But listen, guys, clue in what I'm trying to suggest. I want you to subscribe to Youri channel, One Plus One. Now, also, you are accepting PayPal payments as well, right, Youri?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And if you have not taken the time to listen to his interviews, which I can understand, I will post them out for you guys to become associated with Youri. He's one of us, and he's in our group. And I love the things that he brings to the group that many of you guys may be unaware of. But I think that he's one of the greatest interviewers out there, and I've seen a lot of them. And I hope eventually, and I'm self-projecting something for you, that you become an international interviewer and with one of the most recognizable stations in the world. So everyone,
One can only hope.
well, well,
One can only hope.
remember you said that somebody suggests that one-on-one that you do that. So you kind of found your way in life and now you're doing it successfully. But your
And
interviews
and, and,
is,
and also, I think it's also important to say that also for exploring the continent, we are going to do as soon as my schedule is much more fully free. But I'm hoping around the time of Black History Month to do some interviews exclusively for exploring the African continent, where we're hoping to talk to yes, voices, voices amongst the Black community in America, even voices from Africa and so forth. So stay tuned for that as as both me and Tyrone try to get all of that organized.
yeah. And also Hades. You tell me that we need to put emphasis on Hades.
Yes,
Uh,
you know that Haiti, this tiny country in in Latin America, right next door to the Dominican Republic, was the first country of Afro descendant slaves that overthrew a European colonial empire, and that was the French Empire. And since then, Haiti has been punished repeatedly for having the audacity to set themselves free from white supremacy, white capitalism, and so forth like that. It's a country that America, France, Britain, and Canada and pan European empires, but even Latin American countries have continuously harassed, thrown under the bus, and so I really think that we all owe a debt to Haiti. If there is such thing as anti-colonialism, if there is such thing as Pan-Africanism, if there is such thing as of abolishing slavery, we all owe it to Haiti, and yet this is a country that is constantly thrown under the bus by many of even the best of the left Latin American governments, even much of the African continent. So, having spoken to folks from Haiti who are part of people power movements there, and others who are part of Haiti solidarity movements, I really do think that while it's important that we try to get everybody interested in visiting Africa, so that we can build links with uh, with the motherland there and try to bypass white capitalism or whatever, but have a proper Pan Africanist movement advancing. We cannot overlook Haiti, and it's why I think even though it's not in Africa, we also should be exploring Haiti and the folks that are interested post whatever about Haiti on our on the Facebook group.
you've now brought it to my attention, and I will do things that will help members to understand it and embrace it positively. Well, look, everyone, I'm going to conclude our one-on-one. One-on-one, I'm using yours, but it's 1+1. Int
Exactly.
interview with our unsung hero, Youri. And Youri, I thank you for setting aside your time to allow me to do this. And members, I want you to get to know him. Okay. So everybody be good. And please throw your comments so I can know how you enjoyed him as I have and what you've learned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tyrone. It was a real honor.
Okay, let me stop the recording. Once time it doesn't work the way I think it should, it does what it wants to do. 1 second.
Have you gone to stop the recording?
Yeah, I'm trying to stop it now. And oh,
Oh,
there we
okay.
go. Okay, everybody, thank you. Have a wonderful day.